A question I've been trying to answer over the last 6 months of non-technical building is, how do you build software, apps, websites, experiences without really knowing what you're doing? Possibly more interestingly, what are the advantages that not knowing exactly what you're doing bring to the table? Because there are definite advantages to not being an expert. I mean, when I was a musician, I was very musically trained. I was lucky enough to have a great musical education. And I actually found that frustrating at times because it was almost like I couldn't break out of the rules and the constraints that that training had brought with it. I mean, obviously, it was great to be able to understand music theory. And at the same time, it's almost like it creates a prison. And so now I'm a non-technical builder. Now I can't read a line of code and I'm on the other side of it. I think what I've been developing, apart from all of the software and the apps and the things that I'm actually making, is this method of building that I call discovery building. And yesterday I had a revelatory day of it with this method. And I thought I would show you how it actually works, how to be a discovery builder. So where it all started was I wanted to make Canvas. It's like a page that I've got all of these different canvases for different things. It's a space where things happen, lots of different things. And I'll show you more of them as I'm making more of these episodes. But essentially, I wanted to create a page, a canvas, where I could display the build stream and build pod episodes, but in a way which reflected the relationships between the episodes, the subject matter, so that you as a user could come to that canvas and go, well, I'm interested in this, and then find the other videos that have that relationship, but not in a kind of flat playlist. Because there's something about that I don't know about you, but I find lists very depressing, right? And I didn't want it to be a feed either. I'm kind of pretty anti-feed in general. I think they're not good for the brain. I've been using in the AI system I've built Obsidian as the file viewer. And you may well be familiar with Obsidian, but essentially this is an Obsidian graph view. And this is the entire AI system that I've built. These are all of the files. And by the way, if you are listening to this on an audio podcast, I will put a link to the YouTube video in the show notes. So click there to actually watch what I'm doing here. You've got to see what I'm talking about to understand it. So this is the entire system, and these are all files and bits of software. So for example, I know that these here are all a bunch of readmes. Yeah, some of these are like info bases where I have various different kinds of information that I've collated, which I can point the AI at for various different things. Marketing stuff. There's a Codex one. There's a Claude Code one. Over here is a Music Machine one. So this is all of my Music Machine stuff here. You can see these are all different files. And the way that this graph view works, if you're unfamiliar with it, is that the bigger nodes reflect more connections with other nodes. So in here, if we go to the Music Machine one, you can see purpose is very big. Splurge is very big. If you're familiar with my Music Machine system, you'll know why. And then there are smaller ones which have less connections. Okay, so I thought that this would be a good starting point for me to see, can I actually make this? How easy would that be? So I asked Fable to just do a mock-up of like the Obsidian graph view. And this is what it first came up with. So obviously these are all fake. This doesn't mean anything. But as you can see, it's created something very similar. Now, when I'm building anything, what I always do is ask the AI to create controls for me so that I don't have to go back and forth to ask it to change lots of things. I can just do it, which saves an enormous amount of token usage. So this is just something I do in general. And in fact, in my Canvas system, I've got this whole control system, which means that I can have almost any control in any canvas. But at this point, these were just early tests. So here you can see it's got this Obsidian-like system. And I was like, well, that's all very well and good. But what I didn't like about it is the physics of it. It was like very judgery. So I said, well, can we kind of do something where I've got more control over the actual physics of it, which is a little less unpleasant? For me, the feel of an interface is really, really important. So this is where we got to with the next iteration. So as you can see, this is much more bouncy and pleasing. I don't know, there's something about it which is much, much cooler. The thing was, though, if I can just show you something, what was really bothering me was when it stops, when the physics stops, it feels very static. It's not doing it at the moment, it's still moving slightly, but it just feels like the Obsidian thing where it's just a bunch of files. But right. Yeah, it just kind of stays static. So I was like, can we get it kind of so it feels more alive? So I got it to add a bit of breeze. So this is like a breeze that is blowing. So it's just constantly moving, makes it feel more alive. I also wanted a bit of interactivity. So I asked it to, can we have a bit of cursor pull so that it actually pulls towards the cursor? Either, can you see that? So either very, very subtly, or if we just turn it all the way up, much, much less subtly, right? Then I was like, how about it's more like some lungs? So it's kind of breathing. Because I thought, I want it to be more alive, breathing. Can you see how each kind of idea leads to another idea? This is what I mean by discovery building. Now, here is the thing. At this point, I mean, what does this make you think of when you look at it, breathing like this? It's starting to feel three-dimensional. And that was when the light bulb really went off for me. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. Because what was bothering me about, because really, remember, the reason I was building this was to display my build stream and build pod episodes. And with a 2D model, I can display the relationships between things. Yeah, so I'll do episode 3 is about how annoying AIs are. What other episodes are about how annoying AIs can be? What it can't display, though, is anything else. There's no other meaning that you can put within the UI. But with 3 dimensions, you've got a whole other meaning that can be displayed by the UI. And this is also something that is just a personal thing. I don't actually like fancy things in UIs that don't mean anything. Yeah, they have to have some kind of function. So, just having a 3D thing for its own sake, why would you do that? So what I realized was that if I had a 3D way of displaying this, then, the obvious thing is that the things that are older are further away. I could still have both the kind of, okay, so these are the real older things and these are the newer things, at the same time as displaying these relationships. And this was after a fair bit of playing. This isn't in one shot, right? So this is what we came up with. And obviously I had to ask it to create a camera. So now we have the same thing, but in 3D, and I can look around, right? So now I've got 3 dimensions, which can mean different things. Yeah. And so then I also asked it to create the breathing as well. Ooh, that's a very, very lot of breathing, isn't it? Okay. And breeze. And yeah, also we can have it spinning too. But I was starting to get really excited now. I was thinking, this this is starting to make some sense to me. But notice with this discovery building, I didn't have this plan in the first place. I just started with an idea of a type of UI that would allow me to sort of display the videos in a certain way. So as this was happening, all of a sudden, I then thought, oh, hang on a minute. Hang on just 1 second. If I can create this, how about having a 3D version of the Thoughtnado, a thinking tool, which I've built. So as you can see, what these particles do is they change gradually according to where you are in the exercise. Like, again, this isn't just cool particles for no particular reason. These are changing, which are meant to reflect the feeling of actually doing the exercise, right? This is about excitement now. So, the particles are kind of getting more exciting. They're kind of getting more like, it's like got that feeling about it, like kind of fireworks going off. The UI isn't doing something random. It's got a meaning behind it. So I'm just going to jump in here because I always forget to do the call to action bit. If you want to get the Thoughtnado, if you want to do it yourself, click the link in the show notes or the description, build.mikemonday.com, and check it out. Right, back to the video. Now I've done that boring and annoying bit. But what I thought was with the canvas that I was trying to make was, what if we had a 3D version of the Thoughtnado? Now, I haven't made it, but here's what I came up with first. So this is what it came up with first. Let's rescatter. Okay. And again, you can fly in like this. Okay. And after a bit of faffing around and changing various different things, like, my God, I was in happy land at this point, right? Where like this is starting to become like I don't even know. I mean, what is that? Right. And I can change the depth of field. I can change all of these different things here. So this has now become, this here is now what I call, it's a different type of field. It's a 3D field, which I'm calling constellations. And again, so this is a whole other, this isn't the way of displaying content or anything. It's just I've created a whole new thing. I mean, I've got a lot of different ideas for how I can use this type of field. Yeah, what it can mean, different ways of presenting things. And also, I've obviously got this, which is what I'm going to use for displaying my content. The thing is, where it started was with this, Obsidian. Is one idea led to another idea, led to another idea. This is what I mean by discovery building. I didn't know yesterday that I would end up here. It emerged from what I was doing. And I think this is one of the, I mean, again, I'm not saying that if you're a brilliant engineer or a brilliant software developer or a brilliant product manager that you can't do this. Of course you can. Of course you can. But it's not as, it's almost like when you don't know as much, there's a lot more space to play, to experiment. It's almost like you're a child again, because it's like that beginner's mind thing. And you can create these types of things and look at it in a different way. And that's why I'm so excited by this set of capabilities that we all have. We can all do this because this doesn't require expertise. It requires imagination, and actually it requires, to a certain extent, being okay with not knowing what you're doing. And as a coach who's helped so many creative people, musicians, make, build, and create things, I'm also so excited about giving you the tools and the methods and the strategies and the ways of thinking, the perspectives to be able to do this yourself. Because while, not every app or experience needs to be as wild or as weird as this, actually the flat and limited and kind of very constrained types of apps and software and websites that we have right now, it's like we're at the very beginning. Most things have not been created yet. That's the mind blowing. We are at the beginning of infinity. And I am so grateful and so excited to be moving into a future to find out what we can build. So let's do that. Let's build the future together.